I know it's a huge battle that you go through with your own self, with your actually more in your own mind. Grief for me has turned into, which I think is love, because you only grieve somebody that you have loved intensely. You have to accept it because this is one place where there is no turning back. All I want people to remember is that you don't have to say anything, just be there. My mom actually would, but me and my brother behaved as if this person never existed because we never spoke about it. I sat them down and I said that I want that we talk about your father all the time. You need to heal first to be able to heal, help those around you to heal as well. For that 1 hour, I was just in that place, just exercising or just dancing. And my other passion actually is cooking. I do tell everybody, please get involved with your husbands, know where your accounts are.
Hi, Nutan, and welcome to the AboutHer Show. This is a show where we largely get women, to share the story of their lives with us. Women who we call trailblazers because they blaze trails in different ways. Today, this conversation is not going to be about a particular profession, a vocation, or a business, but it is going to be about life. What happens when life throws a curveball at you? What happens when life seems to be full of grief, loss, and then you have to learn how to pick up the threads of your life once again? Now, this is something, Nutan, that will resonate with a lot of people because a lot of people go through this. But then sometimes we're all at sea, we just don't know how to handle ourselves, how to handle life. So I'm really grateful to you for being on the show and, agreeing to share this part of your story, this part of your journey with us, because I can tell you honestly that this is going to inspire, this is going to help a lot of people out there. So, a very, very warm welcome to you on the show.
Thank you, Sangeeta. I've been talking to you and generally talking to various people who've maybe not gone through the similar experience, but gone through some kind of grief as well. Right. And yeah, when you came up with the suggestion, I thought maybe a few years earlier, it would have been too early because it's very hard to get back to control your emotions and to actually talk about things. But I feel that at this point, yeah, I would definitely like to share it. And if, like you said, if it can actually be of any help to anybody, I think that's going to be a huge, I know it's a huge battle that you go through with your own self, with your actually more in your own mind. So if my sharing my experience is going to help somebody out there, I think that's going to be a huge reward. I mean, maybe not the right word, but it's going to be very, very, I'm going to be grateful that I'm able to, help somebody else's journey of grief, actually, because it's truly a journey of grief.
I can honestly tell you, you will be able to.
Yeah.
That I can assure you. All right. So let's dive and let's get started with this. So tell me, looking back, how would you describe the life you shared with your husband, Deepak? And what parts of that life continue to live on within you even today?
So me and Deepak, we met when we were pretty young. I mean, seeing the children of today, we were very young. I was 22 years old. He was just a little bit older to me, and so we kind of grew up together. I would say we got married very early. He was 24, I was 24, and he was 24 plus, and I was just 24. So, so our relationship was, I think we were, for our times, I think very evolved because it was a relationship of extreme trust, but trust which came with a lot of respect. We didn't ever, disrespect that relationship. We thought it was one of the most important things that we were getting into. So we started our journey very sure in our mind that this is forever. And there was never any judgment on what he wanted to do or what I wanted to do. It was 100% support. And I remember, before we got married and we had this discussion, I said, there are a few things that we need to talk about. One of them is respect, that, we're not going to disrespect each other. We're not going to, in public, no two people can ever agree with each other 100%.
Yeah.
But we were very sure that our disagreements were not going to be in public. They were always there, but they were always when we were together. We would never ever sleep upset. We would always communicate. The idea was to keep that communication absolutely open. And it was a very non-judgmental relationship. And it was a relationship where we always thought that I might not approve everything that you do, but I'm always going to be there to support. And I think, like you asked, that what is it that stays with me? This is what stays with me when I am actually, in touch with my children, or I'm dealing with my children, or with anybody actually who's close to me, that I always tell my children that there are tons of things that you will do that I will never approve of. But I will, believe me, always be there with you unless you commit a felony. But barring that, I'm going to be here.
That's, I think, huge in any kind of relationship, that the respect and the trust and the fact that the person will be there no matter what you do.
Yeah.
I think not only in a relationship between a husband and a wife, or a man or a woman, I think that is true of all relationships. We need respect. Trust is something that everyone needs.
Yeah.
So tell me, losing him, of course, I remember, was sudden. So when you lost him, what did grief look like for you in those early days? And how did it change over a period of time?
So, the funny thing with grief is I always compare it to, when you get hurt, right? Say you get a cut.
Yeah.
Right? There's blood is oozing out, it's paining, it's terrible. And then gradually that wound becomes, it dries up, it becomes a scab, and then it's a scar. But it's a scar that never, ever goes away. So grief might change its shape or intensity, but to think, and that's one thing I want to tell anybody who's going through grief, that, don't even go there. Don't even think that it's ever going to end. Because honestly, grief for me has turned into, which I think is love. Because you only grieve somebody that you have loved intensely. So the more you love somebody, the more intense your grief is going to be. So it's going to be there. It's dark. It's like entering an abyss, actually. You're just like, you don't know what happened. So it also has many stages. I mean, when it happens, it's like it's an out-of-body experience, because you're thinking that, hey, that's not me. What happened? What's going on? That's, what's this? And then there's shock, and you're kind of like in a semi-coma, honestly, because, you just don't know what's going on. There are people around you who've taken control, thank God for that. But, things are just happening. And then gradually it starts sinking in. Then from shock, you get into anger, then you get into questioning. Then finally it only becomes like a scar when you understand you have to accept it. Because this is one place where there is no turning back. Once you've had a loss, you've had a loss. There's nothing that's going to ever change it. So you have to learn to live with it, because you don't have anything else to do, right? I mean, if someone's sick, you can change. I remember in the initial period, and even over a period of time, people have come back to me and said that, we didn't know what to say to you. We didn't know how to talk to you. I said, that's fine. You come and speak to me then, or you come and speak to me after 2 years, you come and speak to me after 10 years. The situation is not changing, right? So it's fine. And I understand that it's very uncomfortable to go and meet somebody who's had a loss, because it's very it's very uncomfortable for you. But all I want people to remember is that you don't have to say anything, just be there. That's it.
Yeah.
Grief is dark. It's dark.
It's true. I mean, I've, of course, not to the extent that you have been through it, but I also have had my share. And I totally agree with you that you just slowly learn to live with it because there is no other option. Your
There
mind
is
accepts that you cannot do anything about it. So the scar will remain. The wound will not remain fresh, obviously not, but the scar will always be there. And depending on the kind of relationship, the scar can be deep or, not so deep, but it'll continue to remain there. And you will realize that you can't do anything about it. I think
you
that's
can't.
one thing which just then that's what you learn to be like, or that's how then you lead your life, right?
And you have to actually, Sangeeta, because there is no option. There
Absolutely.
really isn't an option. Yeah.
Correct. So tell me, when something like this happens, what I have seen in my experience, I mean, it could happen to a man or a woman, and I'm sure it affects both of them equally. But generally, what we see is that women, they feel pressure to be strong after loss. You know, people will tell you that you be strong for whatever reasons, children or family or whatever. So I feel that somewhere when we are asked to be strong, we may not be able to grieve fully because, your other roles, other responsibilities tend to take over. So, my question to you is, did you allow yourself to grieve fully or did strength come later?
Um, so, when I was quite young, the first time I faced grief was when I lost my father, and I was extremely close to him.
Hmm.
And in those times, it was always said that Roma, don't cry, don't cry. If someone's crying, just tell them to not cry. And, it was basically internalized that it used to become a trauma. So, and I lived with that trauma for many, many years because I remember in our home, me and my brother and mom, my mom actually would, but me and my brother behaved as if this person never existed because we never spoke about it, right? It was such a trauma, deep trauma that we never accepted it, honestly. But so when I had to face this unfortunate incident again, and this time it's a spouse, and I had my children who were losing a father, who had lost a father. So I knew exactly, unfortunately, what they were going through. So my first, that same evening, when after the cremation, when we came home, I sat them down and I said that I want that we talk about your father all the time. Just share anything you want to share about him. You want to talk about him, you want to cry, you want to laugh, you want to get upset. Go through all the emotions. Do not keep anything within you because it is very, very hard to talk about your loved one that you've just lost.
Yeah.
But I think it's extremely important as a family to keep talking about them. And after that, whoever came, I didn't. So I think your first and foremost thing is not to be strong, but to be very selfish. You should be selfish about yourself because you need to heal first to be able to heal, help those around you to heal as well. So I told my children that just talk about him. So I also used to talk about Deepak all the time, and I still do that. Maybe people might be getting bored, or they might be thinking that, okay, we've had enough of this. And, I mean, really, but I have never ever looked at how they are thinking about it because the loss is ours and we need to heal. So I talk about him all the time. And I just want to say one thing that, the word strong is probably the worst thing you can tell anybody who's had a loss.
Yeah.
Because everybody is strong when their circumstances are of this type, right? I mean, what do you expect somebody to do who's had a loss? What do they do? I mean, they are breaking, they're falling apart, they're just so upset. Barring that, what else will they do? Are they gonna jump off the second floor? No, there is no such thing as be strong. They're just facing, it's like saying that everybody gets their cup of tea, right? You have to drink it. Either you cry or you laugh, but you have to drink it. So it's better to let them drink it the way they want to drink it, rather than keep saying, oh, you're so strong, oh, you're so strong. I hated that term. I used to tell everybody, I'm not strong, because if being strong puts me in this spot, then I would rather be weak.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. So, yeah.
Very well
I
said.
think
I don't, because like you rightly said, what is the option out there?
there
You've
isn't. Yeah.
what is there? And just telling someone, maybe, I feel the people don't have anything to say. So just for the sake of saying something, they end up saying something like this, which, like you said, doesn't really make any sense because people
Yeah.
then have no option. Okay.
True.
So now this happened, and you also realize, and I have seen you do that you started picking up the threads of your life again, which you had to, which again, I think there is no option, right? You have to do it. So tell me, was there any moment, big or small, when you realized that I want to live fully again? Like, my question is, what shifted inside you at that point?
So actually, I lived fully always, like I said, right?
Yes.
So that moment of, but I remember hearing from people that you can do stuff which you weren't able to do before. And then I said, I could do everything before. It's what I won't be able to do now that I'm worried about. But it's so for me, if you're asking when did I accept it? Is that the question?
So,
When
like,
did I
accepted, yes, and then you like wanted to say that, okay, fine. I mean, now I need to pick up the threads of my life.
So I don't think there's a defining moment that happened. It kind of is a process that kept happening. And I would say that I definitely feel that the children being there were were a huge part of this happening, because I remember that. So it's like you're saying. So it's not a defining moment, but it's little things which kept happening, even from the first time that I would step out to go and have a coffee with my friends. I could see the relief, honestly, on the face of the children. That okay, now okay, because see what happens is when you have a loss, right? It's like it's the foundation of your life has been removed. So everybody's insecure in the family. So when I saw the children, what I saw in them is that every step I took, they felt okay, life can get back to being normal.
Right.
Okay, we can do things now. Okay, we can move on. Maybe that's not exactly how they were thinking about it, but just seeing me, every step I took made them take two more steps. So I think it was a very gradual process that happened. And the big moment for me was in 25, when it was 5 years on the book's death anniversary, that I went to Shirdi and I did a Rudra Abhishek, and I'm quite a religious person actually, and not everybody doesn't have to be that, but for me, that's when it happened. That I felt that there was such a shift that I actually thought that from today I could think of him and only look at the happy part of it, and I was able to leave that thought that every time I think of him, I cry, or I'm sad, or I only think of the loss. But now I was able to actually think of the the joy and the love that he gave me. So that's where I always say that I think that's the day my grief turned from being sad to becoming love. And I looked at it that this is love and not grief. And that's the first 26 September that I spent it was the first dry-eyed 26 that I spent. So I think it's again, so yeah, but there's not like a moment when it happens. I think it's a process you go through. If there is something around you which can encourage you to take every step that you take.
I think it is the presence of your loved ones, of people around you, because you are there together. It's like a collective thing. So, of
Yeah.
course, it's not one moment, but I think over a period of time, with that love and support, and of course, the passage of time and the realization that, you have to kind of come to terms with it because you can't do anything about it. I think
Yeah.
collectively, all of it, I think when it all comes together,
Mm.
that's probably when you, like you said, just focus on the happy times, those moments which brought a smile to your face or his face or whatever. So I think that is how I think it's actually the process, maybe not coming to an end is not the right word, but yes, that's how you kind of move on.
Yeah, and it's going to have a different period for everybody,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
and I think the first thing is not to kind of, constrain yourself that, okay, I need to be okay in a month or in 2 months or, a year. Everybody has a different time frame. And it's important to just listen to your own self and,
Okay. Now, as I have known you and seen you, you're like a fitness freak and you love dancing. And also,
yeah.
otherwise, you're a very active person. So, like I said, I have seen that fitness and dance, they play a very, very big role in your life. So tell me, how does this physical movement help you heal? Or it has helped you heal emotionally, mentally, and physically?
I think the first thing is that it gets you moving, it gets you out of your house, it gets you into a place which, like they say, the happy hormones start, coming out. So I think that was, and like if for anybody who dances, they know that the music, and there's no better healing than music actually.
Yes.
So, just going in, dancing, you actually you actually forget everything because you're just dancing, right? And it doesn't matter, you don't have to be like a super passionate dancer. It's not that I'm a great dancer, but I just like going there. Same thing was for exercise, that every time I went there for that 1 hour, I was just in that place, just exercising or just dancing. And my other passion actually is cooking, which is what I love doing. And which is something which as a family everybody loved, and my husband loved it, he used to love. So that's been the hardest thing to go back to. But as I've gone back to it, and in this last year I have really gone back to cooking a lot. And it when I see the joy when I cook, and I see the joy and the love, I think that encourages me to again feel love, actually, because that's what's missing, right? I'm missing love. So when I start cooking, I again feel that passion. And I think that is, so whatever is anybody's passion, right? Whatever has driven them over the years. For me, it has always been dance, cooking, and exercise. So I think they played a huge role in making you meet other people. You see, they're not, because every time you're meeting the same set of people also. But
Yeah.
when you go out and do these activities, everybody's there for that purpose. So
Yeah.
there's no discussion, nothing. So you're just out there and just doing it and just, having a great time without it's very, very healing, very healing.
So you're actually
For
looking at life, like apart from the grief. It is there,
me,
yes, that's
yeah,
happened. There is another facet to life. Other people are
correct.
happy, they're enjoying. So for that 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it is you're spending over there, it's a diversion.
Absolutely.
That helps.
Yeah, like like people who paint, they
Yes.
paint, and that's the time that, because your mind goes, that your mind has no thoughts at that time.
Yeah.
And I think that is it's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to be doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I found very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So, people go through grief, but those who haven't gone or haven't been through such a life-changing experience, they often underestimate how isolating grief can be. You feel lonely, you feel alone. So tell me, I'm sure you obviously face this kind of a situation. So, who or what was it that supported you the most when words failed?
I think it was well, of course, the children. I mean, there's just no going, there's no denying that. That has been the the biggest support that I got. And they were there. My daughter and my son were luckily at that time in India with me. So we were there all the time. And, they were there without them knowing it. They were really egging me on to go out and do things. And, they were. And I remember my daughter, and till today also, will always ask me that, okay, mom, so if we'll say something, she'll say, okay, so but what is it that you want to do? And, to have somebody make you feel that they care about what you feel is so important, because that's what your companion does, right? He or she will always put you first. Now here were my children putting me first, which was very, very comforting, actually. And then, of course, I've got family here, and family which is not family by blood, but by love, which is a huge family that we are very, very blessed to have. And they're all over the world, but and that was COVID times, and that nobody could come around, but they were still there supporting me. And, they have encouraged me all the way, stood there like rock and said, and they speak about Deepak, and they always have so much of positive stuff to say to us. And they've been there for the children. Because for my son, I mean, losing a father, you lose a male figure in your life. So as much as they can, they support him, they talk to him. So I think we've been very, very blessed to have such a huge circle of family and friends who've just, they kind of carried us in their arms, more or less. It's like, there was this story I'd heard that somebody who was questioned God and said that, I always thought you were going to carry me. And now I'm walking alone because only my footprint are there on the sand. And he said, that's because I'm carrying you. Those are my footprints and not yours. So I felt that all our friends and family were, those were not our footprints, but theirs on the sand.
Wonderful.
And really, and I think, it's so comforting. It's very, very important for people to have that. And I hope everybody is able to get that support,
Yes,
which we got.
that is so, so essential because the person has gone.
Yep. Insecurity, huge insecurity.
So it is people around you, whether it's friends or families, I think, who have to step up because they are the ones, like you said, who can carry you, who can be with you. And that the fact that somebody is with you,
Yeah.
that the feeling itself, I mean, what they're doing for you, maybe, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel what they're doing for you is secondary. But the fact that they are there and
Yeah. Being there, just being there is
it makes
so, yeah. And they stayed on. I mean, what I do hear from a lot of people that, pehle hafte log the, 2 weeks people were there, and then we were all alone. But we were very blessed. And I mean, it's been more than 5 years, but we still have the same support system going, helping us, carrying us, and being there for us all the time.
So, Nutan, now when you lose a partner, of course, there's the emotional part of it, the emotional side, the trauma, the grief, all of that. But then there are also certain practical realities, right? Especially ones related to finance. Because generally, what happens is in most societies, and particularly, India, or maybe other Asian societies as well, women generally, play second fiddle when it comes to money and finances, and it is generally the men who are handling it. And when something like this happens, something sudden like this, you are all at sea. You have to really struggle to get back in control. So tell me, how did you navigate this part of the journey to become independent after Deepak's passing?
Like you said, I mean, I was clueless, honestly. You just know that. I mean, you don't even think about it, right? On an everyday basis. Zindagi chal raha hai, chal raha hai. I mean, you don't really, you have no clue. And when somebody passes well, I think 54, 55 is a young age.
Yes.
And then there's no will, there is no you don't even think about it, right? It's all of a sudden. I mean, it's not that you even got the chance because he was sick. So you got at least a few days to talk about things. It's like one moment you're talking to him, next moment, boom, he's gone. So, I mean, it was. I'm not going to say that again. I think we've been blessed. I'm not going to say that it was very tough. We totally had no idea what's going on. But in the first 6 months, we had friends who are, financial advisors. So they kind of told us what to do and things because, I mean, there are all that, there's insurance money coming in, or this or that. And luckily, all our accounts were together and, all of those things were there. But then there are, other things that you need to take care of, which were tough. And everything, and like I was telling you in the beginning of our conversation, that you're actually in shock and then you really don't know what's going on. So, so we just did whatever someone told us. So the first, I would say basically 2 years were kind of just went by in, just trying to sort out getting things like a death certificate, getting a legal heir certificate, which should be very simple, but nothing is simple actually, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even though we were living in India, everything was in India, but even then it wasn't. But again, everybody came out to give us support. Somebody got something done, somebody got something done. And then after 2 years is when I think me and my son was hugely a part of this, who helped me to sort things out and reinvest things and redo our financials. Having said all this, even though there was no will, my husband was an extremely organized person when it came to his paperwork. So he actually had put everything in as much of an order without knowing that he's just going to go away all of a sudden. So I'm not going to say that we went through a lot of heartache and headache and crisis with it. We didn't. It was quite manageable, but it is very tough. It is really, really tough. And I do tell everybody, please get involved with your husbands. Know where your accounts are. We were still, like I said, because he was very organized, things were not so difficult for us. There were few accounts because, people have a lot of accounts. They have a lot of things. A lot of stuff is done in single names. So try and get all of that organized because we didn't have to luckily face so much of issue. But people do face a lot of issue because getting any kind of paperwork done is extremely, extremely difficult.
Right.
So, and if you don't have the resources of contacts, it gets very
yes.
So but now we managed it and we were okay with that. Yeah. So it wasn't a hugely big thing. But when I meet other people and I see the situations, I know somebody where they are in a different country and the accounts are frozen and they really don't know. So I know that it's very tough. Yeah.
So yeah, you do need support, but at the same time, I think, if women also start taking an interest in financials, men also start involving them, things would be easier. And like you said, not everybody is organized. But if you are involved, then at least you have an idea. You may not know everything. I mean, day to day, you don't know, but at least you have an idea. And then getting back on track will be that much easier, that much simpler. Because otherwise, if you don't know, you've got to figure it out. I mean, there is no way, and it'll be really, really difficult, right? Okay.
So, to that, I'll tell you a thing which was very encouraging for me. So recently, my daughter was here and she was telling me about a friend who was discussing with her that, I'm very worried if my dad passes away, what will happen? My mom is so dependent. She doesn't know anything. I'm so worried about my mom that how will she manage things? And she looked at her and she said, my mom also didn't know, but she managed it. She worked on it. She took control. So don't worry. I think, it's people do get down to doing it. So it's not that, again, your circumstances will teach you.
Yes.
So they do teach. If you can learn from before, it is better.
But then
yeah.
you will learn.
You You will learn. You will learn. You have, again, when you don't have a choice,
Yeah.
when you throw somebody in the mid sea, they will learn to swim. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
they,
All right. So, financial angle is one part of being on your own. And this is like I'm talking from a woman's perspective. Another thing is that now you're a single woman, right? So, as a single woman, society often has opinions, spoken and unspoken. There are judgments. So, did you face judgments, expectations, and how did you learn to rise above them?
I honestly wouldn't know. I didn't really bother.
Okay.
For me, it's important when I shut my eyes in the night. See, there's nobody who is a better judge and a better person to tell you than your mind. Your own conscience tells you. When you shut your eyes, you can lie to the world, but you cannot lie to yourself.
Yes, that's
So
right.
when I shut my eyes at the end of the day, I know if I've done something wrong or if I've done something right. So I only listen to my own mind. I don't listen to anybody. And not that not that they might not have had opinions or they might not have, they might have judged me, but I have always felt that I don't think I've gone out and done anything which was, I guess it also comes from a place because I was with somebody for 30 years who never ever said anything, right? Who never ever put any judgments on me or put any restrictions or said, you can do this and you can do this and you should do this and you shouldn't do this. So I have never had to do that, right?
Right.
So when I was faced with it in front of the world, I said, if if he was there to support me, of course there was a huge amount of insecurity. Now I was to do it myself. But I think confidence of 30 years has helped me, and I hope helps me to go through my next how many ever years are left now.
I'm sure.
So yeah,
Sure.
I have, and again, I would say that my closest were my children, so they matter,
Yes.
and if they will come out and tell me that, Mom, I don't think this is great what you're doing, I'll definitely give it a year. But anybody else, honestly, the world ko kya hai? They're waiting to just pull you down, and they will say. So I don't want to listen to them. I don't think I do anything which is so out of the ordinary. Anyways, I don't think so. So I, for me, my only person it matters is my children and my own self every night. If I'm okay with them and my own self, I think I'm fine.
And I think that's how
Let
it
people
should be because the world will say, like they say, logon ka kaam
will say.
hai na. It's like,
Absolutely. Like that, you remember that story, right? The guy, his donkey and his son. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah,
whichever way that they were criticized. So people will criticize. It's
yeah.
okay. It's fine.
So
I
you
mean,
have to, like, surrounded by love, confidence, strength. I think these are things which hold you in good stead and really not bothering about what people have to say.
yeah, because
Yeah.
not everybody might have the support that I've had.
Yeah.
So I would say just don't bother.
Right.
Like I said, selfish. Think of yourself only.
Right.
You know. And that's when you'll be able to be a better person to help everybody else as well. So listen to yourself. It's fine.
The
You
most
know,
important person. Yes.
most important, right? Your most answer. Whether I feel that any person, a learned person you listen to, they always say that, take care of yourself
Yes.
first.
Yes.
And only then can you take care of anybody else. So I have stayed with that thought always.
Great.
So yeah, so I really don't know. I mean, what people think and what they say doesn't matter.
So tell me now, over the years, I mean, you've been through different phases of life, different stages. So tell me, how has your identity evolved, especially from being part of a couple to now standing fully on your own?
That's been the toughest, actually. Um, I mean, I've never had to go anywhere alone, right? And now so I think the toughest is probably socializing, because you're always used to going as a couple, and especially a couple which is very together all the time, and then now suddenly you're by yourself. You've got to find, enter a room full of strangers, and that was very, very overwhelming initially. I mean, I didn't want to go out, and I will always look for somebody. If a friend is going, but kids, I've dragged my kids to a couple of weddings and things like that. But gradually, I think I have learned to just walk into a party, get a drink for myself or whatever, and then just stand in the corner if I don't know anybody. And because there are places you have to go.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing I still haven't done is, which is on my list of things to do, is to go and watch a movie by myself. I still haven't been able to do that.
All right.
Evenings when I'm like, I've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
And I want to watch. I love movies. So maybe one day. Yeah. So that's on my list to do. Yeah. That I want to go out there and watch a movie by myself.
I'm sure you will.
And
it's
totally
a
stand
matter of time.
That'll be the day that I'm going to stand totally on my own, because right now that's missing. So yeah, so I'm getting there. It's not easy.
Yeah.
From being somebody's wife to being single, just sounds terrible. It just sounds terrible. It makes you feel terrible, but no option. So yeah, learning to maneuver that, learning to wrap my hand around it, it's taking time.
Yeah.
That's been.
But you will get there, I'm sure.
I'm sure I will. I will. Like I said, it's on my list of things. The day I watch the movie, I'll call you.
All right. I'm waiting for that call. Oh. So tell me, we all have, we all talk about living life on our own terms, doing things that we want to do and doing them our way. So tell me, what does living life on your own terms mean to you today? And how different is it from what you once imagined for yourself?
I mean, I wouldn't have imagined living like this, evenings just sitting by yourself, doodling in a book. And that's the last thing I ever thought. Because every evening, we used to just sit together, even if we were at home. I mean, we've done all kinds of. We used to just sit and watch TV. You always, when you've always had somebody there, and then suddenly there's a vacuum, there's nobody there. So I really don't know how to answer this question, actually. I don't know. I honestly don't know how to answer this question, if you ask me.
Which is totally.
Yeah. I think
we're
this is
living
tough.
life, but this is probably not on the terms that you wanted to lead it.
Not at all. So I think, why I can't answer this is because I am living my life right now, day to day. Every day that I wake up, I think, okay, I have this to do. And in the evening, I say, thank God I did this, and it was a good day. Because I think if I will think about all of this, then it becomes, I would probably end up with a panic attack that, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to? So I've just stopped thinking.
Yeah.
Forget overthinking. I've just stopped thinking. I'm just getting through life day to day.
I think that's the best. And even otherwise, I think, it is best to do that.
Yeah.
Let
I think
unfold itself the way it is supposed to, because you can't change that. And just
that's understood totally. Yeah.
Deal with it the way it comes.
So I think I just go. I wake up. I do my things. I spend a happy day. My thing is to just be as happy as I can in what has been given to me. This is the life I've been given. So I'm trying to keep it as simple, as happy, and as full of things that I like to do, and that's it.
Wonderful.
I don't try and think too much about any tomorrow and day after.
Correct.
I don't. Yeah.
So, Nutan, for women who are grieving and they feel stuck in a survival mode, I mean, you've got to survive and you're kind of stuck there. what would you tell them? What is that one belief or one habit that helped you reclaim your joy, your purpose, which would help them also? I mean, maybe it may not be the same set of things, but something that made you do it. It could help someone out there.
Yes, so I think firstly would be that accept your grief. I think it's an emotion, right? Like we understand emotions, we understand happiness, we understand, being sad. We also need to understand grief and say that it's an emotion which has been given to us. Let's accept it. Let's live with it. Let's, almost enjoy it in terms of that, like I said, that you will never have grief if you haven't had love. So if you're grieving somebody, you've definitely had love there.
Right.
So rather than focus on the sad part of it, let's focus on the positive part of it, that you were blessed that you got that love, right? So let's look at that love in, I mean, it's a memory. Of
Yeah.
course, these are just memories, but let's live those memories of happiness rather than every time that you're thinking, oh my God, what has happened to me? I mean, stop self-pity, first of all. There's no need, because nobody at the end of it cares. Nobody wants to be with somebody who's going to be depressed and crying and morose all the time. And it's your cup of tea, it's not theirs. Drink it, and drink it happily and enjoy it, because at the end of it, there is a reason that that person's gone, but you have been left to live, and you have to live. Everybody, the one thing none of us can control is how many breaths we have.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has a certain number of breaths, and they have to breathe them. They have to live them. So live them now. Why keep, and don't overthink about it. Just go, just go with the flow. This is it. This is your life now. Lead it the best. Don't overthink it. Don't ignore it. Don't think that it's going to end. This grief is never going to end.
Yeah.
You have to love it. And that's when you'll be able to live it. Because there's no other way to do it. You have to do it like that. So,
Accept it, and yes, it is there. It is there. It is what it is.
it is, right? I mean, I wish we could change it, but we cannot. What we cannot change, we need to learn to accept. And then accept it in the best possible way. And just go with it, live with it,
With grace, with dignity, like I have seen you do.
And try and do things which will give you joy, because, one huge joy has been taken out of your life. Find others, whatever gives you joy.
Yeah.
Go and find. And then live with those, right? I mean, it still isn't the end of the world. I mean, every morning the sun does come out. So you've got to let your sun come out as well.
So this is what you would like to say to a woman who has or is going through something like what you went through, lost a partner, is afraid of the future, and you want to tell her that there is a tomorrow. Like you said, the sun will rise tomorrow.
So, absolutely. I mean, the only thing that they need to take out of their mind is being afraid. You're afraid because you're thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen tomorrow? What will happen to me? What will happen to my children? What will happen to my life? Stop it. Just don't think about it. I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But it's a practice, right? Yes. So that can only happen when you accept that you have grief, you're going through this. You are going through it. Accept it and then stop thinking about it. Live your life. Live it. This is one life at the end of it. What to do?
Yes. So acceptance.
Acceptance is the only,
and and be graceful and dignified about it, because this is, like you said, this is what has.
And also you need to be very grateful for, it is all of us. I mean, we have so much to complain about. We all do. But we all have huge things to be grateful.
Yes.
So let's be grateful. And the more we can try and, the more you go from the negative to the positive, the better your life can be. The better you can live it, because you have to live it. Roke ke has ke jeena to hai.
Jeena to hai. Very well said.
So
Nutan,
that's it.
wonderful conversation. But of course, though formally the conversation has come to an end, we do have the rapid fire round, which is
Okay.
5 quick questions, 5 quick answers. You don't get time to think. So are you ready?
As long as it's not like Karan Johar's rapid fire.
Well, you may get a cup of coffee. Yeah.
Oh, that's not too bad.
All right. So the first one, a daily ritual that keeps you grounded.
Doing my prayers.
Okay. All right. The second one, laughter with friends or quiet me time.
Laughter with friends anytime.
Yes, I kind of knew the answer to this.
All the time.
Okay. The next one, a word you no longer fear.
I don't have an answer. A word
Sorry?
I don't fear
Anymore.
I don't fear loss, I think. I mean, I've seen so much.
Correct.
I hope I feel it.
All right. So next one, one food you can never say no to.
Dal chawal.
All right. And finally, one thing you've grown better with age.
I've become more accepting.
Yes.
Definitely. Less judgmental and more accepting of things.
I think that is something which is happening to a lot of us. Maybe it's the age, time, whatever. And you just feel that it is like, people are who they are. You cannot change.
No.
Fine.
No.
It's fine.
Yeah. Accepting also the fact that actually we have nothing in our control.
Yeah.
We of course, not that we should stop doing things,
No, but yes.
But there's only that much that you can do.
Absolutely.
But just leave it to the higher forces, I think.
Do things, but don't think that the outcome will be as per your liking or as per your specification, because it's not a pizza topping at the end of the day, right? Can't customize it. Yeah. All right.
So true.
So Nutan, thank you so much. I can tell you that this has been one of the most, how should I say, touching, inspiring, powerful conversations that we've had on the show.
Like I said,
it will, because life is not always about material things. Life is not always about what milestones, where have you gone, what promotions, what profit. It's not about that. This is very real. This is something which we all face or will face. So somebody who can show us a guiding light is definitely there. That conversation is definitely going to stay with us, and it is going to stay with our viewers, with the people who listen to this podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. And I hope even if I can help one person, it would be a huge, it would be very, very nice for me. Yes. And if anybody wants to talk to me, I'd be very happy to do that as well.
It will happen. And we'd been wanting to do this for a very long time. But again, this also happened when it was supposed to happen.
Right? I think so. And like I said, I'm so happy that it's happened now, because I don't know if I would have been able to get through this earlier.
Yeah.
A couple of years. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the About Her show. If you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more from where that came from. Our previous guests have shared some amazing stories, so be sure to catch up on past episodes. To keep up with our inspiring conversations and to never miss an update, hit subscribe, rate, review, and share the love. Follow us on social media for some great content, and don't forget to check out our website www.aboutherbysangeeta.com for stories that resonate, inspire, and empower. Know a remarkable woman or an inspiring man blazing a trail? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note at web.abouther@gmail.com and let's bring their story to life on the About Her show.